Seattle Seahawks 16, Arizona Cardinals 6. Seattle is now in first place in the NFC West. You know, one of those games where like this game has 15 lead changes.
Yeah,
that's the NFC West. They're going to have 15 lead changes as far as the leaders in the NFC West. The Seahawks have now overtaken the Arizona Cardinals. Wasn't it the Niners just a couple weeks ago?
Everyone's within a game of each other.
Everyone's still within a game. So Seattle and Arizona both 6-5.
I mean, they take over first.
The Niners are 5-6, and the Rams are 5-6.
Right. They take over first with the tiebreaker. Like they're
with the tiebreaker, right?
They have the same record. So Seattle 6-5, Arizona 6-5, and the other two 5-6.
Really a strong performance by Seattle. Not a lot of offense on either side though, because there was a pick 6 by Coby Bryant from Seattle to go up 13-3. Geno Smith with an red zone interception, another red zone interception in there to kind of help keep Arizona in it. But Seattle's defense, I mean, both defenses played really well. Arizona continues to play above their skis, I would say, defensively. But Seattle, to me, the big story is their run defense, which has been pretty bad this season, reshaping their linebacker core these last few weeks. We've highlighted that on the preview show. Really came good against an Arizona team that was moving the ball very effectively on the ground coming into this game.
Yeah, their defense did a really good job. That's the other reason, by the way, that the Rams or the 49ers are in a hole, is because they're the only team in that division that have a crappy record within the division.
Yeah.
They have part of their problem of timing bad losses is they've been division losses as well. So tough schedule, no quarterback, under 500, and you're behind the 8 ball in the division where it's tight.
But you're just a game back. And even if you
That's
say,
the only thing
it's
it's
2
good.
games back because we've lost some division games, it's a 5-6 team that's very much in it.
Yes, with division games to come.
Because Seattle, things looked bleak for Seattle a couple weeks ago. Now they're in first.
Yeah, I mean, they could win against Arizona and Los Angeles on the schedule. You're back to 500 within the division, and that's 2 of the wins you're going to need in order to get back ahead of 500. So it's not dead and buried, but they're in a hole. But yeah, Seattle, their defense did such a good job against Arizona, an offense that had been really cooking. Like, they bottled up Kyler Murray. They didn't let him make too many of those freakish plays. They had a couple plays where they got him on the run. When Kyler Murray's been on the run this season, it's been generally good. They didn't give him many places to go. They stuffed what he wanted to do, forced him to try and beat people with his legs, and did a good job of stopping him doing that as well.
Yeah, I thought I went back to rewatch some of Seattle's defensive front just to see, because early in the season, I don't know what was completely wrong, but they got rid of Tyrell Dodson. Like, they moved some pieces around, brought in Ernest Jones. The team was raving about Ernest Jones. Tyrese Knight, the mid-round draft pick, who was a good run stopper in college. Both of those guys played pretty well in this game. Defensive front played much better, so I think that was a huge key. That pick 6, did you see the people highlighting Devon Witherspoon's play?
Yeah.
On the pick 6?
Mm-hmm.
That was really good, man. That was outstanding. Devon Witherspoon remains one of just the fun players to watch. He had a tackle for loss in the run game. On the pick 6, Kyler's rolling out. Devon Witherspoon peels off and just cuts him off. Kyler makes a bad decision and kind of chucks it up. Coby Bryant picks it off, takes it to the house. That's such a huge play in this game.
Well, he'd put himself, like, Witherspoon was basically playing run the whole way, and then realized on the fly it's not a run. Kyler Murray's got the ball and had to literally like a reverse 180 degrees at full speed and then keep pace with Kyler Murray into the flat. That's a difficult assignment, and did it well enough that he put Murray under pressure to the point where he threw the ball in harm's way.
Yeah, it was a big play by Witherspoon in that game. I wasn't expecting a defensive effort like this, a defensive struggle from both teams. That's me underrating Arizona's defense.
Yeah, they schemed up pressure pretty well as well. Leonard Williams in this game had like an amazing game. I mean, Leonard Williams was an absolute monster in this game and didn't, like, even some of his impact. I mean, there was a play early in the game that was just ruled incomplete where it looked like a fumble live. Leonard Williams gets through, gets his arm onto Kyler Murray's arm, forces the ball out. On review, they're like, nah, the arms just started coming forward. It's an incomplete pass. But that was almost a monster forced fumble from Leonard Williams. But he had a huge game, like a ton of pressure, good against the run. Like, this was the sort of peak Leonard Williams.
7 pressures first run from PFF, including negated plays, a couple sacks. And then you talked about, Arizona can scheme pressure, right? Because we sit here every week and we're like, oh, pass rush grades are low. That means they're not winning one-on-ones a whole lot. I thought the broadcast did a good job showing how they essentially schemed up like Zaven Collins off the edge for a strip sack and everything. Like, they have done a good job either creating unblocked rushers or just creating enough indecision up front to get pressure, which makes you repeat for like the 8th straight week. I'm looking forward to seeing Jonathan Gannon when he gets some dudes up front. He doesn't have a lot of dudes up front on that defensive line in Arizona, but they're still, I would say, outperforming what they should be. So they did a nice job there. Also wanted to highlight JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, again leading Seattle with 6 catches for 77 yards over the last 4 weeks. So since week 9, Jackson Smith and Jigba top 5 to 8 in pretty much every category, 23 receptions, second in yards with 368, and he's missed a game. They've had a bye during this time since week 9. So JSN is second in receiving yards since week 9. He's only played 3 games. Several receivers have played 4. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's tied for 5th in first downs plus touchdowns with 15. And he also had another 91 yards negated by penalty. So JSN starting to become the go-to guy for Seattle over these last few weeks.
He has, yeah, definitely. I also wanted to shout out a couple of the Cardinals receivers. Trey McBride.
McBride was awesome.
12 catches, 133 yards. And Kyler Murray had him for touchdowns twice and didn't get him, I think on the same drive. So I guess that would have only been 1 touchdown. But the one play where you got forced out of the pocket, McBride's open in the end zone. Kyler thought about it and then didn't pull the trigger. Thought about it, pulled it down, tried to take off scrambling instead. Couldn't make the gain or the yard to gain. But McBride's open in the end zone on that play. Maybe the next play or a couple of plays after, he took a shot at him, overthrew him in the end zone. He was open for that one as well. So McBride could have had an even bigger day than 12 catches for 133 yards. I mean, he has become an absolute monster of a tight end. And then Michael Wilson had this amazing deep catch in this game where he had to track the ball like directly over his shoulder, and actually the ball's coming in on the wrong shoulder. That is so hard to do. Like that, it's not that hard to get your head back and track a ball that's coming over the correct shoulder when the trajectory of the ball actually sends it tracking directly past your head to the other shoulder.
It was Willie Mays, right?
With a helmet on.
With a helmet
is incredibly difficult to do.
You tell me Willie couldn't make his catch with a helmet on?
And he had a guy in pretty close attendance at the time. Just a phenomenal catch by Michael Wilson. It was on it was like a 3rd down shot, I think.
Wilson had the negated touchdown too, right? He had a touchdown, yeah.
And he had another nice catch as well. Like he only had 2 catches, I think, but they were both very good.
He had a touchdown negated by penalty as well. The every week it's like it's oversimplifying by saying if Kyler Murray plays special that Arizona's really tough to beat, but he was inconsistent in this game. Again, you get the pick 6. It was 4th down. And he's got to kind of force a play, but that ends up being really the difference in the game, one of the biggest differences in the game. When Kyler's playing special ball, they are tough to beat, but he has not bottled that up and done it every single week. The totality of the season's been good, but it's really 3 or 4 games where he's been lights out and out of this world. Other than that, been just okay.
Yeah, and it was a close game. Like they had a chance, but they made a mess of the sort of late game sequence. One of those ones where you need 2 scores and not much time left. So at some point you just kick the field goal just to get the second possession theoretically, and they kind of didn't. They chewed up all the time, and then eventually settled for the field goal, missed it, and you're like, all right, the game's dead. But they sort of made a mess of that, I think.
All right, I got no more use of this game.
Done.
Do you?
No.
No, good.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.